All right, here we are on surface area. This is our last shot at surface area. So if you haven't mastered surface area yet, you're going to want to watch this video, then get the intervention questions. There are several of those you can work on to practice, and then come back and show what you know, as Mrs. Witt from the Hornets would say. So whenever doing surface area, we want to break the problems down. Now, the first thing that I like to do is I like to make sure I know how many sides I'm looking at. Any triangular prism, this is a triangular prism, has 5 faces, 5 sides to it. Any rectangular prism, cereal box, Kleenex box, shoe box, any of those is going to have 6 sides. For a triangular prism, the area of the triangle at the end will be doubled. So when we get this triangle at the end, we're going to double that. We get the triangle by using the formula base times height. In this case, the base is 10, and the height is the 12. You don't want to get confused by the 13 on the edge. The height is the 12. So 10 times 12 divided by 2, which is 120 divided by 2, which is 60. So the area of the triangle is going to be 60, and you'll have that twice. So I like to go ahead and write down each of the parts separately, so by the time I'm done, I make sure I see 5 parts. Okay, next we're going to have one of the sides, and we're going to start with this side. So this side is 15 by 13. So we have a side that is 15 by 13. We are not dividing by 2 because we are not looking at a triangle. We're looking at a rectangle, and the area of a rectangle is base times height, or length times width, however you want to say it. You'll hear it said different ways. 15 times 13, we get 195. So that's the area of a side, and I'm going to add that area of a side. I could have done the bottom next, but I like to do the sides first. Now we're going to do the other side, and on this particular triangle, since this is an isosceles triangle, you can see you have 13 here, and you also have 13 here, which means that's a 13. So for this triangle, when I do that, I'm also doing 15 times 13. I have the same 15 times 13 again. This dotted line right here is the same as this 15, and this up and down is the 13. I don't know why that little thing popped up, but let's get rid of it. So I have another 15 times 13, which is another 195. All right, finally, I've got the bottom of my triangle. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. And I have the bottom of my triangle, and in this case, or my prism, I should say, here's the bottom of my prism, and that distance is 10 by 15. So 10 times 15. Actually, I meant to make that green, so it would match what I did with the highlighter. So there's 10 times 15, and that is 150. 150. I see that I forgot to bring, see, this is the advantage of doing it this way. I could look and see, wait a minute, there were only 3 numbers, but I knew I had done 4 things here, and then the 150. So I have triangle, triangle, side, side, side. This last side is the bottom side. So I'll clear up my calculator, and I'll add all 5 numbers. 60 and another 60, and a 195, and another 195, and a 150. 60, 60, 195, 195, 150. I get a total of all of that equals 660. This is in centimeters, so centimeters. And surface area is always a squared unit. So I have 660 squared centimeters. I'm going to write that up here. 660 squared centimeters. All right, let's get the calculator out of the way. I'm going to have to put it on top of that work temporarily while we do the next one. Now, on a rectangular prism, There are more sides, but there's less math. There's less computation to do. Because when you do a rectangular prism, whatever you get at one end is the same as the other end. So we can see when we get this measure, it's going to be the same as that measure. And you can think of it, if you take a shoebox, for example, and you hold your hands on both sides of the box, opposite ends of the box, they're on the same sides. Those sides have the same dimensions. So for my first part of the box, and I've done the sides, so let's just stick with what I did here. The sides of the box are 6 times 7, so that's 42. I don't want to put it right there, though, because I'm going to use that space for something else. So 6 times 7, 42. So 42 is going to be the side of the box, and I'm going to use that 42 twice, since I have two sides that are the same dimension. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's do the front of the box next. So when I do the front of the box, well, I'm also getting the back of the box. So the front and the back have the same dimensions. In this case, the dimensions are 20 by 7. So 20 by 7. Let's color that up orange, just like what we're working on now. So 20 by 7. 2 times 7 is 14, so 20 times 7 is 140. So the front of the box is 140. And again, I know I'm going to have that twice. Once for the front, once for the back. Okay, let's take that shading away. And let's do the top of the box. So I'm going to figure out the top of the box. And you've probably figured it out by now. When I'm doing the top of the box, I'm also doing the bottom of the box. In fact, the bottom is where the dimensions are. So let's leave it on the bottom for a moment and do this part of the box. We have 6 times 20. Well, 6 times 2 is 12, so 6 times 20 is 120. So the top is 120, so is the bottom. So I'm going to add that 120 two different times to my total here. I can now see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. Let's add those all together. 42 plus 42 plus, should have been a plus, 140 plus 140 plus 120 plus 120. So 42, 42, 140, 140, 120, 120 is equal to 604. So this totals 604 squared centimeters. 604 squared centimeters. I'll put it right in there too. 604. Put it several places. All right, let's get rid of that. I don't think I ever wrote the 660 over here. It doesn't matter where you write that. Okay, this box was just designed to guide you through it. Now we can answer the question, which sign are we going to use? And in this case, we're going to use the greater than because 660 is greater than 604. So that's our work on surface area. Again, you won't see it on a regular test. You will have an opportunity to do it during intervention. So if you have questions, bring them to class.